Hey everyone, John here to give my quick thoughts on the Panzer Dragoon Remake. Now this series means quite a lot to me. When I first started my Saturn collection, Panzer Dragoon was the very first game I picked up. Played the sequel, loved that too. Played Auto on the Xbox and I also loved that. And my fiance even got me Panzer Dragoon Saga for Christmas one year, which is one of the most sought after Saturn games. And I've played this series to death and I absolutely love it. So when I heard a remake was coming, I was over the moon. However, there were some red flags, and honestly, after playing through the remake, I'm not sure I can fully recommend this. I mean, it's still Panzer Dragoon, it's still a great game, but I don't think this is the best way to play it. So let's first go over exactly what's new about the remake. So listen to this music right now. Sounds good, right? That's the original music. there's a remastered soundtrack coming, but not now. The game's out now, but the remastered soundtrack is coming in a patch, which makes it seem a bit rushed. Also, gyro controls are coming, but not now. And it's something weird too. When you first start the game, for some reason, inverted controls are off by default, and when it comes to shooters, I don't play inverted, but when it comes to flying games like Star Fox, inverted is just natural. Like when you're flying a plane, you'd pull it down like inverted to go up. That's just how it works. So it was very odd to me that inverted controls were off, and what's even weirder, let's start a new game. Oh, also, that's new too, actually. The original didn't have a save function, so this is a good change. I like that. We'll start on normal mode. But yeah, that was just very strange to me. And also, what's strange too, is you can't actually change the controls when you're playing. So, there is a pause menu, which has options, such as audio options, but controls aren't an option in the pause menu. If you want to change the inverted controls, you have to go back to the main menu, which I'm sure a lot of people will do, because it's weird to play a game like this without inverted controls. Also, the loading times are strange. Like, on the Saturn, there were basically no loading times to boot up an episode. These are quite long. It's weird. I don't want to be too doom and gloom over this. There we go. But I will point out something that I hate. So, pay attention to the aiming reticle moment when it appears on the screen. And you'll notice, it's not 3D. It goes over the character, which is very strange. So what makes Panzer Dragoon quite unique is, unlike games such as Star Fox, you can move the camera around, like this. It's a 360-degree on-rail shooter. And if you look at the top right-hand corner, you'll see a radar, which shows us incoming enemies. So that's just the basis of Panzer Dragoon. It's a very simple sort of Star Fox-style on-rail shooter, but has that little twist that really adds a lot to the game. Now anyway, one thing I do not like, right off the bat, is in the original game, the opening level was this sort of peaceful, open ocean. And they've added a lot of surrounding elements to it, which I think take away from that peaceful atmosphere. But more than that, if you bring a comparison a moment, one big element of the original, and what made it so memorable visually for me, were the shadows. Like, look at the shadows and the reflections that are casted by all these pillars in the original. In the remake, they're completely gone. It's just very weird that such a defining feature is completely absent in a 20-plus year older game, 25 years I believe. So it was 1995. So to me, just the visual style looks very strange. It's far more colourful, and I just don't really feel like it really captures what Panzer Dragoon was. And also a big thing I don't like, why is the dragon bouncing around like that? Even though the screen real estate is much broader because it's in 16:9 now, the dragon is just really distracting. I don't know why it bounces around all the time, and it really gets in the way, especially when you're like aiming from the right and left. That wing just keeps getting in the way, and that didn't really happen in the original. It's just a very strange new addition. I hate how it makes controls feel very chaotic, because I don't really know where he is because he's bouncing everywhere. I'm not sure where I'm placed as, you know, as a little dot on the screen. Where am I meant to be? Like, where does my hitbox end? I can't tell because he's bouncing around all the time. So yeah, like, it still plays fine. It's still Panzer Dragoon. But I don't know, it doesn't feel like, it's not the justice an iconic game like this deserved, in my opinion. This is a big cult classic. Anyone who had a Saturn basically played Panzer Dragoon. And yeah, this just doesn't do it justice, in my opinion. And the developers have said that they are going to remake the sequel, and also maybe get to Panzer Dragoon Saga. So hopefully they can address some of the problems here, also with future patches that they promised. But yeah, I mean, just I just don't really like how it looks, to be honest. I feel this looks kind of cheap. It reminds me a lot of early PlayStation 3 games where things just look very clean. Like, there's a lot more detailed than the original, for sure. There's a lot more going on. But I don't think that necessarily makes it better. Sometimes just adding more is less. Or sorry, less is more even. Yeah, and like, just looking at the water right now, I feel like the original was just made such a bigger statement. It could also be that the original came at a time where perhaps it can't be perfect, like it can't be one-upped. Just because it was such a distinct style, you can't really replicate that today. But if you just look at this ship a moment, to me, it just looks so generic. Whereas the original had this charm to it that this just doesn't quite have. Even aiming doesn't quite feel right. Like, it's a bit twitchy. You can change the you can like change up the options in the settings, but again, it shouldn't be like this. Like, again, inverted should be the default, and having the, you know, the best possible option should also be the default. But we'll get closer to the ship in a moment. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Just look how clean it looks. It's not supposed to be this kind of game. Like, this is meant to look a bit rugged, is the word I guess I'm looking for. Whereas it just looks like a really clean ship. I apologize for my gameplay right now. I realize I'm not playing the best, but it's difficult to criticize and play at the same time. But yeah, I mean, I love Panzer Dragoon, and I'm delighted that this series is still going in 2020. I just expected more, and this aiming reticle, I just can't get over how cheap it looks, and I hate how it just overlaps with the dragon all the time. But I'm sure if you haven't played the original Panzer Dragoon before, you probably aren't constantly comparing it to the original, which might even help you in some cases. Because for me, I'm just disappointed about what it isn't partially, but also I don't really care for a lot of what it does. Hopefully they can change more with the sequel, and to be honest, the original Panzer Dragoon is probably the weakest one in the series. Like, the sequel does a lot to one-up it, and even Orta is a brilliant game as well. Not to say that Panzer Dragoon 1 is bad by any means. It's a great game. And if you've not played it before, I guess the length is somewhat similar to Star Fox, so you can probably finish it within 2 to 3 hours. So it's a short game, but it's very replayable. It's fun just to try and master the routes each time. Ooh, oh, nearly knocked that one out. So we're nearly done with this one. Let's just get rid of that last missile, and then we can take out the rest of the ship. And also, I think the trailers, they showed it in 60 FPS, whereas the actual game appears to run at 30, which is just a bit strange. I mean, the original game wasn't 60 FPS, of course, but it's weird that they would advertise it as 60 and then release it at a 30 FPS frame rate. But yeah, I mean, those are just my general thoughts on Panzer Dragoon. I expected more. I wanted more from this highly respected cult classic. And it's a shame that it's not quite what I thought it would be. Hopefully they can do more with the sequels if they keep making these remakes. But I'm just disappointed that one, it's not fully finished. The remastered soundtrack hasn't released yet. So let us know what you guys think about the remake down below, and of course be sure to subscribe to Game Explain for a lot more on Panzer Dragoon and other things gaming too. Until next time, bye.